Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Now in front of me today I have the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars, or as I prefer, Battlefront 2 Anakin, General Anakin. This is my very first 1/6 scale Star Wars figure. After collecting for over a decade, I've resisted Star Wars for the simple fact that it is so vast. There's so many of them that I felt that once I started collecting them, I would be only budgeted to collect Star Wars. So I resisted. What has changed my mind is the announcement of the new updated Han Solo as my all-time favorite character. I couldn't resist collecting him, so therefore I've proven myself right, and my last 5 pre-orders have been Star Wars figures. So I hope that I can keep it to a minimum and keep the budget in that I can collect other things other than Star Wars. So without further ado, let's get into this figure. And here we have our Hot Toys 1/6 scale Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars, or General Skywalker from Battlefront 2, straight up as he comes out of the box. Now, as per usual, I am going to be going through his accessories first, but I just wanted to have a first impression on him, and first impressions are extremely good. He looks really well straight out of the box. Just having a quick look at the base there, you can see it's a typical Star Wars Hot Toys rectangular base with Star Wars and Anakin Skywalker written at the front there. Not much to be said about the base. It's not a DX, so I didn't expect much from the base. So moving on, let's have a look at the accessories. And here we have all of Anakin Skywalker's accessories laid out in front of us. And starting from left to right, we will start with Anakin's lightsaber blades. I am not a big fan of these at all. They're not even remotely close to Anakin Skywalker's blade color, as you can see, and the only way these become even remotely close to Anakin Skywalker's blade color is if you actually use them with this arm and switch them on to use them, and even at that, it's only just about acceptable. It's nothing fantastic, but with the light off, it looks nothing like Anakin's blade, so that is a serious letdown. I don't know how many people are going to walk into their display room and take his gauntlet off and roll up his sleeve and switch on the light for it to only work for an hour at most, and then you have to change the batteries. Not many people are going to do that. So I think Hot Toys should have added in a blade for display purposes that was closer to the Anakin's actual blade color. And the same applies to this blade here. I do like the effect that they are trying to go for with this piece here in order to make it look like a blade in motion, but it's just not quite there. Even with the light on, it's just not quite there. And that color is just so off-putting. It's just so off-putting. So next up, we will have a look at his lightsaber that is not attached to the hand, and this one can attach to his belt or be put in one of his hands there. And those blades also attach to the top of this lightsaber, which I don't understand why, because they look terrible in it, and that this blade doesn't have a light up function. But however, the paint job is fantastic. Minimal mold lines, and it looks great. If I just grab this little piece here, you can see that if you pop one end of it into the lightsaber, it acts as a hook, and you can hook it onto his utility belt. We'll take a look at that later on. Yeah, and that's pretty much all that lightsaber is useful for, because putting those blades in it will make it look terrible. Moving on to this arm, this is obviously the removable or the replacement arm. So you have to remove the whole other arm to pop this one in, and that is no small feat. I tried earlier on. We'll get into that more later. This lightsaber is obviously fixed to this hand because there is wiring running up into the lightsaber. And if you switch it on, you can see the light emitting out, and that isn't the worst light I've ever seen. It's not too bad, but I think Hot Toys can do better. As you can see here, I'm just going to pop this in again and give you a look at it. It's okay. It's acceptable. It looks better here than it does on screen, but it's not too bad. But I think Hot Toys can do better. Yeah, like I said, fitting that is no small feat. We'll get into that more later. Next, we have the hologram emitter, and just let me grab Obi-Wan there, and you pop him in like so, and there you have a mold of Obi-Wan as a hologram. And I really like this. It looks really well the way it's printed, the gradient in it. It's really, really nice. I don't know, maybe would there be possibly an ability to put a light in the bottom of that hologram emitter and make it even more realistic. Yoda there, and next we have Ahsoka. Like I said, good molds, great molds. They look really well. From what I believe, I'm not up to date with my Clone Wars, but I believe that is not the correct outfit for Ahsoka for that time period. So next up we have his thermal detonators. Now I didn't expect these in the box, but nonetheless they look really well. They're painted really well, no mold lines. This one in particular is one that hasn't been deployed, and this is one that has been deployed. Unfortunately, it is not magnetic at the bottom there, but no big deal. And moving on to his hands, we have 6 hands in total. This is a gesturing hand, for force gesturing hand. This one is a gesturing hand also, which doubles as a... No, not that one actually. This one doubles as the grenade holding hand, as you can see here. And it also acts as a force gesturing hand. And next up we have the right-handed lightsaber gripping hand. All the hands on the right are black and all the hands on the left are brown. And next we have a left-handed lightsaber gripping hand. And then we have another force gesturing hand. And then we have a force gesturing hand which will also act as a hologram emitter holding hand. So my only upset with the hands is there is no relaxed palms or closed fists, which means you are forced to pose him in some kind of dynamic pose. So unfortunately there is no option for a straight up museum pose with a closed fist or an open palm. So moving on, we have his cape. His cape is made of a really nice material. It's really soft and there's quite a bit of weight to it. So when you hang it, it's got a more realistic look to it because of the weight, as you can see there with it hanging. It has these 2 Velcro pads at the back, and on the back of the armor you can see there that there is Velcro at the back there, and you just place them against it and press, and you have a seamless attachment for your cape to your armor, which looks quite nice. And this applies to that armor also. It will attach to either armor of your choice. Now, as you can see, Anakin does come with some different outfit options, and no Star Wars figure is complete without his poncho. This poncho might need to be steamed to be softened up a bit. It's a bit rigid. It is wired all the way around, which allows you to pose him in some really, really nice poses with this wiring around it. But however, unfortunately, you will be covering up a lot of his blue and purple attire underneath, which is a no-no for me, because this is the reason why I bought this Anakin figure, because this is my favorite look for Anakin as a Battlefront 2 fan. Now, moving into his armor, I'm just going to get a bit closer so we can get a good look at his armor. Instantly you can see that there is a color difference. The one on the left being a more metallic silver, some argue it's more realistic looking. And then we have the one on the right, which has the more matte finish to it. I am going to use this lightsaber blade as a pointer, and some people are not going to be happy. So as you can see there, there is no live screen, or I don't think there is a live screen iteration of this outfit. And there might be in one of the TV shows that I haven't watched. So Hot Toys have had to make up their own iterations, and I think they have done a fantastic job here. I have seen some Clone Wars iterations of the shoulder pads just having the curve up on them, like on this body armor here. You can see it just has a slight curve up on it, and I have seen a Clone Wars version of that. But however, the Clone Wars version, I believe, has a slightly different bottom to it. I think this bottom of this looks more Battlefront. So, and I think this looks more Clone Wars. So it's going to be up to user to decide which one they want to use. There is some articulation in the shoulder joint of the one I'm just holding there on the left. And on the Clone Wars, I've seen this iteration as well, but I don't think it's as wide on the Clone Wars version. I don't think there's 3 little, bars running down. I think there's only 2, but I might be mistaken. I'm leaning more towards this one. You can see that the color of the shoulder armor also matches the different iterations. As you can see, the matte silver one here matches the shoulder pads here, and these shoulder pads or shoulder armor match the iteration on the left here. The logo is embossed on this one and relieved on the other one. Yeah, it's really down to your choice as to which iteration of the body armor you prefer. I think I'm leaning more towards the one on the right myself, but I will take pictures of him in both armors and I will decide from there. So I suppose that's it with the accessories, and we can move on to taking a look at Anakin himself. But actually, I'll show you what happened with the arm. And here is the arm so far. I have tried to replace the electronic arm with the standard arm, and the wrong piece came off. As you can see there, the wrong piece came off. I have tried and tried and tried to pull that out, and I just can't get it out at all, which is a bit of an issue. So I feel that I'm gonna have to strip all of this clothing off him to get access to that arm to pull it out. So stay tuned and we'll see how we get on with that. And here we have our Hot Toys 1/6 scale Anakin Skywalker Clone Wars on the turntable. Now immediately, even as my first Star Wars figure, I am super impressed with this. This is my favourite look for Anakin. As I said, a big Battlefront 2 fan. From head to toe, I'm super impressed with this figure, and I do look forward to the rest of my Star Wars collection. In my usual fashion, I suppose I will start from bottom to top. So starting with the boots, let's get zoomed in a little bit and have a look at those. From what I believe, these are a whole new design on the boots, and they are not a reuse from a previous iteration of Anakin. They are all made of pleather. They're full pleather. There's no split. They're all one piece. They're made of quite a soft pleather. It's quite a soft material. You can see there that it is quite soft and pliable, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I fear that these boots are going to be the first thing to go. There is some articulation in them, although they are one piece. They do go left to right and back and forward, but however, the minute you articulate the boot there, you can see the split or the crease just happens there, and if you leave him in a pose like that for a long time, you are most certainly running a high risk of putting a crack in those boots. So that is something to bear in mind when posing the figure, that I think that is not going to hold up. And the same applies to this leg here, a crease in the back of the boot there when you pose him in a dynamic pose. So that is the only danger with these boots. Other than that, they look absolutely fantastic. You can see the artificial leather stress marks in the boots. Yeah, they really look nice. The stitching, you can see the stitching all the way around. Looks really nice, really tight, and really in scale. And then you have the sole of them, which is a molded grip on them. And funny enough, it says Hot Toys 2021 on the sole, which is quite interesting because it's 2024. So have these been sitting in a warehouse for 3 years? Obviously so. Hot Toys 2021. And then on the sole of the other foot, it says Lucasfilm. So there you have the boots. Moving up to his, just let me get this out of the way. Moving up to his gauntlets, you can see that they are two different colors. You can see the leather effect on this gauntlet is really, really nice, and the paint complements that mold. And as you can see, the gauntlet goes over the glove there as it's supposed to. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be attached, but obviously for articulation purposes that can't be done. You can see that there's a slight mold line up it there. Moving on to his other gauntlet, his typical robotic arm gauntlet. This is black, as you can see here, and it has a split in the middle of it there, just running down it for removing it to switch on the lightsaber arm. It doesn't stay closed really well. I have seen ones that look worse than my one, but it does the job. You can see the mold is really detailed there and looks really well. You can see just again there, that's the black, and the other one is brown. Yeah, all round the gauntlets look really nice. I'm not huge on the seam line on the one on the right there. You can actually see the seam line running up it there, but not the worst I've ever seen. Moving up to his belt, you have a pouch here on the left hand side of him, and it doesn't open. And then you have the hook for hooking the lightsaber onto his utility belt. As I showed you earlier on, you just pop. You're actually supposed to put it onto the lightsaber first. I'm doing it backwards here, so I'm not going to press this in too tight for fear of breaking it, but I'm hoping I can get this in, and you can kind of get the idea of what I'm saying, that it just hangs off the utility belt. Now obviously that bar does go in a little bit further. I just don't want to push too tight. In actual fact, I will just take it off and push it in just a little bit more, and there you have it. That's the idea of how it's going to look when it's hanging off his belt like that, which looks fine. So moving on to his belt itself, it's made of the same pleather that his boots are made out of, as far as I can tell. It has this silver buckle at the front, and then we have two attachments at the side, which I'm not quite sure what they are. Smoke or oxygen or something, I'm not sure. And then we have his other pouch at the side there, which again doesn't open. And then moving around to the back, we have his Velcro attachment there for attaching the belt onto his waist. I do really like how this blue material pops off the purple. It's far more vibrant than I expected it to be. It's really nice, and I don't think it quite comes off on camera as well as it is in person, you know. So moving on to his armor, and we've already gone through the armor, so I'm just going to go through it really quickly. You can see my one is slightly defective there. the left hand side, his left hand side, doesn't quite go back in. You can see there, it doesn't quite go in. So I'm probably going to have to pull this one out a little bit just to make them match. So a little gripe, not overjoyed about that. If I just leave that one out a little bit, it looks a little bit more even or symmetrical. But as you can see there, that just will not go back in. The gap between the neck and the armor is very, very, very minimal. So moving his head with the armor on is a bit risky, but I do like how tight it is. I do like how close to the neck it is. These shoulder armor pads are connected by Velcro, as you can see there. I'm not sure how it's going to hold up. I don't know if that Velcro is going to become flimsy to the point where they won't attach. Only time will tell. And at the back there, you have some more detail and some more really nice paint. So moving on to his outfit. Now you can see his outfit there is all fabric, which is excellent for posing, and there is no risk of any part of his outfit other than his boots to deteriorate. You can see all the lining in there. The robe there is completely lined, and it has a certain weight to it as well because of the weight of the lining and that it sits quite realistically looking. You have his inner robe there then, and his trousers. There's quite a bit of padding on him. I didn't expect so much padding. He's quite padded at the back here and all the way around the waist, which does cause an issue with articulation. If you twist him there, you can see that there's very minimal articulation left and right there, rotation, and he almost actually springs back into his original position, which is a bit of a letdown. And it's also the same for his crunch. His ab crunch is very, very, very minimal, which I'm a little bit disappointed in, and that is due to the amount of padding that is on this figure. But the outfit is amazing all the same. You can see there that robe, the outer robe, is all wired, so again you can put him into some really fantastic dynamic poses with that, and some unique poses, having the ability to have it wired all the way around, and at the back it is also wired, and as you can see, lined fully and stitched quite well. No complaints. The blue, it doesn't pick up quite well on the camera, but the blue is quite vibrant. It is really, really nice material and a really nice color. I'll just bring it a little closer here so you can have a look again at those colors. The purple is quite vibrant and it really pops off the blue, and it's going to look really nice on your shelf. So with all that said, we will move up to the head sculpt. If I just stand this guy up and adjust this camera, and we will get zoomed in on this head sculpt. Now initially when I saw the promo pictures for this guy, I thought his hair looked too flat. I wasn't particularly gone on his hair. I thought at the front it looked flat, but having him in hand is a very different opinion. You can see the sculpting on the hair is absolutely amazing, and the paint applications on the head sculpt itself are really, really, really nice. Hot Toys have really stepped up their game on their hair sculpting. They've not compromised anywhere on it. You can see all the detailing in the back and the split hair on the waves, the fine hair under the ears, and the fine hair just in the corners here look really nice and add that extra dimension of realism. And the paint applications on the hair as well, it's when it hits the light, it gets these shimmers on the tips of it. When the light hits it, you can see as it rotates on the turntable there, as the light hits it or as it goes into shadow, it looks really well. The dry brushing is done really nice on it. And you can see at the back of the head sculpt there's been no compromise. The depth of some of the mold is absolutely fantastic, and there is I can't see any join lines in it. So moving on to the face itself and the paint applications. This is the same head sculpt as the Revenge of the Sith Anakin, which is no big deal to me. Some people have argued that he looks a bit angry in this. I see determination, I see serious, maybe a little bit of angry if you drop that head a little bit. He has a very prominent scar at the side of his face there, which looks exactly as it should do. It's extremely screen accurate. I think if you change the color of those eyes there, you could probably have a dark side Anakin. You can see he has some detailing on the face there, those little scars that he has, which is a nice bit of detail and screen accurate. And his hair is the only difference in the head sculpts between that and the Revenge of the Sith. I believe at the front there on the Revenge of the Sith Anakin, his hair is longer all around. And the paint applications on this one, in my opinion, seem to be better than the Revenge of the Sith Anakin. You can see the speckling on the face there, and the skin textures look really nice. And the paint on the eye and the eyes is perfect. I don't see any blemishes whatsoever. So as it stands, I'm absolutely overjoyed with this figure. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He looks great. We'll just have a quick pan down from top to bottom again, just to have a last look at him. I think he looks great. He feels great in hand. He looks great on the shelf. My only downside is possibly those boots are going to deteriorate long before they should. I chose not to get the Artisan Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, and regretfully so. However, I do not regret this purchase. This is my favorite outfit for Anakin, and the head sculpt looks absolutely fantastic, so I have no regrets whatsoever. I probably will try and get the Artisan one at some point. However, the prices have skyrocketed. I am on the wait list with Sideshow, but whether that comes to Volition or not is anybody's guess. So, moving on, I'm going to show you what happened with the arm and when changing the arm out. So, stay tuned. Right guys, so what I ended up having to do was I ended up having to file down the edge of here and here just to be able to get this on and off without pulling this part off. So it's still not easy to get in, but or off, but at least it comes on and off now without pulling the other part on. This one hasn't been filed down, and it's a little bit more difficult to get off and on. I might have to file this one as well, guys, because I'm having trouble even getting it on. So if you are having trouble getting them on and off, guys, maybe consider filing down them. I mean, I'm talking micromillimeters, guys. I just took micromillimeters off, and it done the job for me. So that might be something worth bearing in mind, guys. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you made it this far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and stay tuned for future content. Thanks.